How's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Boruto anime. Today we're going to be covering episode 185. This episode covers part of chapters 20 and 21 in the Boruto manga. So, this is more so a more chill episode leading up to the confrontation with Ao. So, there's just a lot of dialogue in this episode, no fighting. So, if you're a big fan of action, yeah, you're going to be a little let down by this episode. But rest assured, next week's episode will be action-filled, so look forward to it. Anyways, if you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Anyways, let's get on to that review, shall we? So, since this episode again covers primarily manga content, I'm going to focus less on that and more on the anime original stuff. So, I'm just going to summarize the manga stuff. So, in this episode, Boruto and the others are hiding out in this fort-like thing. Basically hiding out, it's abandoned, it's damaged. So they're trying to come up with a strategy to deal with Ao. And Konohamaru, he wants to actually deal with Ao himself, while Boruto and the others take the intel that Konohamaru extracted from the Black Seal, that coffin-like thing in the blimp, take it back to the village while Konohamaru deals with Ao. Obviously, Boruto doesn't want anything to do with this because we just lost Mujino. And you can see that Boruto is dealing with it. You know, even though he's on a mission and he's supposed to be a ninja, he's still, emotionally affected by Mujino's death. And Boruto even tears up in this episode. Shows the impact that Mujino had on him. So that was pretty nice. But Boruto's idea is that, hey, we all need to attack him at once. And we'll all take him down. And Konohamaru doesn't think the same. But Katasuke basically intervenes here and basically says, hey, can I be the decoy instead? Because, this is kind of my fault because, so just so you know, Boruto, during the Chunin exams, I was actually placed under Genjutsu. Somebody manipulated me to get Scientific Ninja tool data. And it's clear to me who did it. It was definitely Ao that cast the Genjutsu on me. Way back in episode 53, by the way. But anyways, Katasuke wants to take full responsibility for this. And he even himself blames himself. And he wants to try and, make amends with Boruto and the others. And he even tells Boruto, hey, I don't blame you if you hate me, because even though the Genjutsu, even though I was under Genjutsu, Genjutsu amplifies your feelings, so I was still partly to blame for what happened to you. But then Boruto has basically almost like a talk no jutsu speech here, where he basically talks about, I used to hate Scientific Ninja tools myself after what happened, but I guess I learned to know that, hey, it's just how it depends on how you use them. And he ends up reconciling with Katasuke here, and this all basically motivates Konohamaru to change his initial plan, so they all decide to strike out because of this. So, great job, Boruto. Great job talking everybody out of it and going with your idea instead. So their plan is basically to launch an attack on Ao basically when he's distracted, because he has one of Katasuke's gloves there, which he has that black orb that basically absorbs ninjutsu. So the goal is, hey, when Ao is distracted, one of us is going to attack and take him down. So, wonderful idea, guys. I wonder if that's going to work out very well. Also, let's not forget the scene where Ao is basically walking through the woods and he runs into Kashin Koji. And I thought this interaction was pretty interesting, where Ao basically is like, I have no emotions left. I'm just a tool. And he mentions here that, I'm basically a tool for Kara because I'm an outer member, which I think is the first time that Ao has mentioned that he's an outer for Kara, so I thought that was pretty interesting. And now for the anime original scene in this episode, and it's between Delta and Code again. So Delta, she's basically practicing in the car hideout after her emergency maintenance, and Code shows up and is like, hey, guess what? I think you're a traitor. You're a traitor to Kara. And Delta's over here kind of confused as to what Code's talking about, and Code's like, well, you didn't hear? There's a traitor among the inners, and I'm going to figure out who it is. And if I just basically torture everybody based on their numerical number here, I'll figure out the traitor eventually. And Delta over here basically dishes it right back at Code. It's like, well, from my perspective, you're the suspicious one here, Code, because you seem to be the one that's most happy about the vessel being lost, showing that maybe Code's a little jealous of Kawaki, and maybe the attention that Jigen gives Kawaki, which angers Code, who tells her to take that back immediately, and they're about basically ready to, face off against one another, and that's when Amado steps in and stops the both of them. And Amado over here basically acts like the father of the two, and basically stops the two from fighting, and is like, hey, Code, you may want to stop that right now, because actually what you're doing, you're causing a lot of problems for all of us, and you're gonna need to stop that now, because yeah, Jigen wouldn't like that at all. In fact, he'd be pretty upset. And considering what happened with Victor, yeah, I don't think you want to double cross Jigen here, so you might want to stop while you're ahead. Delta over here actually starts to suspect Amado as maybe the traitor, and Amado over here being the cool dude is like, well, if you want to think that, then go right ahead. But yeah. I don't know, something about Amado, I just like this dude, and just how he's able to calmly just assess situations and deal with it pretty easily. He manages to calm Delta down, whereas Code over here is like, well, maybe Boros the traitor. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the anime original scene in this episode. Now overall, I gotta be honest, I found this episode to be quite boring, and if I'm being completely honest, the pacing in this episode was definitely off, because last week's episode felt really fast-paced, whereas this episode, it felt really slow-paced. Like, it was kind of a chore to watch it at times. Like, I do like the fact that Boruto, is, acknowledging Mujino's death here, and he's crying in this episode. We get to see that. And that whole scene actually has a little bit more depth to it, because, Mujino's involved in it, and Boruto, and, like, this is personal for Boruto now. Like, in the manga, it was not personal, but here, because Ao killed Mujino and we had more time to spend with Mujino, Boruto got to know this character, yeah, this is personal for Boruto, so I do have to give the anime props for that, for making this, impactful. But overall, I still felt that this episode was quite boring and was paced very slowly, to the point where I was like, alright, let's move on, guys, I want to get on to the next scene. And even though I liked the anime original stuff with the car members, I think out of all the scenes that they've shown so far, I think the scene in this episode was probably my least favorite so far. I mean, it's cool to see Delta and Code interacting here, but overall, I kind of found it to be a little mundane, personally. I don't know if we're going to have any more anime original scenes in the next episode, because it seems like we're going to be focusing more on the battle against Ao. But I still want to see more of these, because it does add characterization to these characters, and I'm liking what they're doing with these characters, especially Code. And not to go into full-on spoilers here, but Code is a character in the manga that we don't really get to see very much, but I will say that he may potentially be becoming an important character in the future, so I would be on the lookout for this character to see what the anime does with him, and just pay attention to him. Just want to give you guys a heads up out there that are anime onlys. Now, I will say that if there's one thing I did have to praise in this episode, it's Katasuke's character development. Now, it's very similar to how it was done in the manga, but again, with Mujino's death having a little bit more impact in the anime compared to the manga, yeah, even Katasuke actually brings it up when he's talking about it, because he's remorseful for his actions. He got placed under Genjutsu, and the scientific ninja tool data was leaked, and it's because of that he inadvertently created Ao, a monster with scientific ninja tools implanted into his body. But it's also because of that we lost Mujino, and Katasuke blames himself, and that's why he wants to be the decoy. He wants to take responsibility for this. So I like the fact that you see character development and character growth in Katasuke here. So I actually like that quite a bit in this episode. So I'll give some kudos to this episode for doing that as well. Alrighty, I'm going to end out the review here. So overall, an average to decent episode. So I'll give it between a 5 or 6 out of 10. So guys, in the comment section down below, what'd you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Post your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you all later. You have a great day or night wherever you're at, and peace.